The Ajad Hind Saga. The Call of the East. Subhash Chandra Bose crossed oceans as one crossed thresholds without the promise of return in the Southeast Asia. History waited not as theory but as man. Indian soldiers captured by the British scattered across camps, stripped of purpose, uniform, and pride. They had fought for an empire that abandoned them. Boss came to give them a nation, rebirth of the Indian National Army. The Indian National Army INA was not born in parade grounds. It was born in humiliations and hope, standing before weary prisoners. Bose did not plead, he commanded. You are not prisoners of war, he told them. You are soldiers of India. One by one, broken men stood straighter. Elegance shifted, not to a foreign crown, but to a future imagined and named Ajad Hind. Discipline followed, belief, belief followed, leadership and leaderships. In Subhash Chandra Bose was absolute, provisional government of free India on foreign soil against impossible odds. Bose did the unthinkable. He announced the provisional government of Ajad Hind. He had ministers, department, currency, and most dangerously an army. Recognition came from Axis power, not because they love freedom, but because Bose made India impossible to ignore. For the British Empire, it was a nightmare given form. The Rani Jhansi Regiment. Then came a revolution within the revolution. Bose raised an all woman combat unit, the Rani Jhansi Regiment, led by Captain Lakshmi Swaminathan. At a time when the world debated a woman place, Bose assigned her a battlefield. Freedom, he declared, is incomplete. Freedom, he declared, is incompleted. If women are not its voice, history listened. Give me blood. It was not a slogan, it was a covenant. Give me blood, Bose said. I will give you freedom. Men wept. Women saluted. The INA, Indian Navy Army, did not fight. The Indian National Army, the INA, did not fight for pay or pension. It fought for a promise carved into the soil. The march through Burma. Jungle swallowed roads, monsoon erased maps. Disease fought harder than bullets. Yet the INA marched. Indian National Army marched through Burma toward Imphal and Kohima alongside Japanese forces but under Indian command. Every step forward was a declaration. The British Raj was no longer unchallenged. The weight of war strips romance from courage. Supplies faltered, air power crushed columns. Allies retreated. Men fell not to enemy fire, but to hunger and fever. Subhash Chandra Bose shared their suffering. He refused comfort, rejected privilege, and lived as his soldier lived. Leadership, he believed, was not issued, it was endured. Defeat without surrender. The campaign failed militarily, but history does not measure revolutions only by territory held. The INA proved something Britain had feared for generations. Indian soldiers could and would fight the empire. That truth traveled faster than armies. Echoes across India. When INA officers were later tried by the British, India erupted. Protests spread through cities. Slogan replaced silence. Even within the British Indian Army, loyalty cracked. The empire understood at last it could no longer trust the very force that sustained it. The unfinished march. As the war turned against Japan, Bose looked ahead, not backward. Defeat was temporary, purpose was permanent. Somewhere between sacrifices and legend, Subhash Chandra Bose stepped into history unresolved. Chapter one that would not end with a speech, with a mystery. The mystery and the legacy. A world collapsing. By mid 1945, the world Bose had navigated with ruthless clarity began to crumble. Japan staggered under relentless bombardment, cities burned into shadows. Allies surrender or vanish into history footnotes. Yet Subhash Chandra Bose did not speak of defeat. He spoke of regrouping. To those around him, his calm was unsettling. Empire were collapsing, but his will remained erect, unyielding, discipline severe. Freedom, he said quietly, is never lost. It only changes its path. The journey toward the unknown. On January 18, 1945, Bose unboarded Bose boarded an aircraft in Tahiku, Taipei. Officially, record would later describe it as routine flight bound for Manchuria. Witness would recall confusion, urgency, and an atmosphere thick with unfinished intent. Then came the news that would fracture history. The plane had crashed. Bose was reported that India held its breath. India held its breath. The news that refused to settle. The announcement traveled faster than belief. Some wept openly, others stood in silence, refusing to accept what logic demanded for a man who had vanished before. Disappearance felt more familiar than that. There was no publicly body. There was no public body, no grave that satisfied with the soul, only ashes. And even those raised questions. Inquiries and doubts. Committees were formed. Files were sealed, open and sealed again. Eyewitness testimonies contradicted each other. Medical account lack unanimity, political interest hovered like vultures over uncertainty. Some believe Subhash Chandra Bose, had perished in fire. Other believes he had escaped once more, this time into enmity or perhaps into another nation's shadow. The truth fractured into version. The monk of many theories years later whisper emerged of a silent ascetic Gumnia Mi Baba living in seclusion, surrounded by relics, letters, and habits disturbingly familiar. Was he Subhash Chandra Bose? Courts debated. Scholars argue. Devotees believe history remained unmoved. Mystery, it seemed, was Bose's final companion. The Indian National Army trial and the empire realization while Subhash Chandra fought blood to his impact sharpened. The British decision to try INA officer ignited India. Demonstration erupted. Student march, workers strikes, Even soldiers questioned their allegiance. For the first time, the British Indian Army, the empire backbone, shows sign of fracture. The Raj understood a terrifying truth. It had lost moral kind. Freedom without the general. In 1947, India became free. There were celebrations, speeches, flags, and there was absence. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose was not there to witness the dawn. He had chased across continents. No voice announced. Victory in his tone, commanding, urgent, uncompromising. Freedom had arrived. It fierce soldier was missing. Memory and comfort. Post independence, India struggled with Subhash Chandra Bose. He did not fit nearly. He did not fit neatly into official narratives. His method uncertained moral comfort. His alliances complicated purity, and so gradually silence replaced debate. But silence never erased him. Declassified truth decades later file emerged, redacted, cautious, and incomplete. They reveal surveillance beyond death, interest beyond closure, and question never fully answered. Truth appear not as revelations but as possibility. The man who refused to end. Some lives conclude, other continue as question. Subhash Chandra Bose became the latter, neither confirmed martyred nor returned revolutionary. He occupied a space no verdict could close. Perhaps that was fitting. A man who refused compromise in life would not accept finality in death.